You said something earlier today, maybe in a meeting, maybe to a friend, maybe to a stranger at a coffee counter, and hours later, your brain is still running it back. Not because it was important, not because anything went wrong, but because something in your mind decided it mattered, and now it won't let go. You have replayed the moment 3 times. You have reworded what you said. You have imagined what the other person thought. And the strange part is, you cannot turn it off, no matter how much you want to. This is not a quirk. It is not anxiety. It is not weakness. It is one of the oldest survival systems your species ever built, running at full speed inside a world it was never designed for. Here is the real reason you cannot stop thinking about what other people think of you. Go back roughly 200,000 years. Your ancestors lived in small groups, tight clusters of 50 to 150 people who knew each other by name, by face, by reputation. There were no cities, no strangers you could disappear into, no fresh start in a new town. You were born into a group and you likely died in that same group. In that world, being liked was not a preference. It was a survival mechanism. Belonging to the group meant access to food, protection, shared knowledge, and mating opportunities. Rejection from the group meant death. Not metaphorical death. Actual, physical death. Exposure, starvation, predation. The evolutionary biologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying this. His research on what is now called Dunbar's number found that the human brain evolved specifically to track social relationships in groups of around 150. Not because 150 is a nice round number, because that was the cognitive load the social brain could carry. Your mind was literally shaped over hundreds of thousands of years to monitor where you stood with every person around you, and that monitoring never switched off. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman, in his book Social, describes what happens in the human brain during moments of social evaluation. The brain's default mode network, the system that activates when you are not focused on a specific task, does not go quiet when you stop working. It runs social simulations. It replays conversations. It projects how others saw you. It models other people's minds. In other words, your brain's idle state is not rest. It is social rehearsal. This is not a bug. In the ancestral environment, the moment you stopped paying attention to your social standing was the moment you could slip, offend someone, lose status, or become a target. The brain that never stopped monitoring relationships was the brain that survived. And that brain is yours, right now, sitting behind your eyes, running software that is 200,000 years old. Now here is the part that changes everything. The researchers who study social cognition have a name for this system. They call it the Sociometer. Psychologist Mark Leary developed the theory in the 1990s. His idea was elegant and devastating in equal measure. Self-esteem, he argued, is not a fixed internal value. It is a gauge, a real-time readout of how accepted you believe you are by those around you. When your sociometer reads high, you feel confident, calm, capable. When it reads low or even threatens to read low, your brain treats it like a physical threat. The same alarm system that would fire if a predator stepped into your field of vision fires when someone does not reply to your message. When a colleague seems cold in a meeting, when you say something and the room goes quiet. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a social threat and a physical one. Not fully. Not in the way you might hope. That is why rejection hurts. Not metaphorically, literally hurts. In 2011, researcher Ethan Kross published a study that scanned the brains of people experiencing social rejection and people experiencing physical pain. The same regions activated. The same neural pathways lit up. The brain files social rejection under the same category as being burned. So when you replay that moment from this morning, the one where you stumbled over your words or laughed at the wrong time, your brain is not being melodramatic. It is running a repair process. It is trying to find out if your standing in the group has been damaged. It is asking, did they see that? Do they think less of me? Am I still safe here? And the reason it keeps looping is because the ancestral environment gave you real feedback. If you said something offensive to a group member, you could see it in their face. You could repair it that afternoon. You could track the outcome. In the modern world, most of the time, you cannot. You sent a message and it was read without a reply. You made a joke and the person smiled, but you are not sure if it was real. You left the room and you have no idea what happened next. Your brain wants resolution. It wants the data that would have arrived naturally in a small group of 50 people, where you could read every face in real time. Instead, it runs the loop again and again, searching for certainty that is not coming. Psychologists call this ruminative thinking. The system designed to solve social problems gets caught in a cycle when the social data is incomplete. And in the modern world, almost all social data is incomplete. Think about what you navigate in a single day. Emails without tone, text messages without body language, meetings with people whose names you barely know, social media with hundreds of people watching a performance of you that they may be judging right now. Your sociometer is trying to track all of it. Dunbar's number was 150. You are asking your brain to monitor thousands. The result is a system running permanently in overdrive. Not broken, overloaded, running the exact program it was built to run, but in an environment it was never calibrated for. Here is what that means for you. The next time you catch yourself replaying a moment, turning over a sentence, imagining how someone read your expression, you are not being paranoid. You are not being insecure in some character flaw kind of way. You are running the most successful social survival software in evolutionary history. You inherited a brain that kept your ancestors alive in a world where one social mistake could cost everything. That brain made it possible for your lineage to cooperate, to build trust, to navigate relationships across thousands of generations until eventually it produced you. The anxiety you feel is ancient. The precision of your social monitoring is a feature, not a flaw. But here is the thing modern life asks of you that your ancestors never had to learn. It asks you to override that system deliberately, to recognize when the loop is running not because something is genuinely wrong, but because the resolution your brain is searching for does not exist in this format. You cannot monitor thousands of people with a brain calibrated for 150. You cannot get real-time feedback from an email. You cannot resolve a social loop with more rumination. The data your sociometer is waiting for is not coming. What you can do is name the process, recognize the signal for what it is, not truth, not evidence of failure, not proof that everyone noticed, just an old system doing the only thing it knows how to do. An alarm that was never updated for a world this large, firing in the empty room of your mind, looking for the group it was built to protect. Hours later, your brain is still running it back. And now you know exactly why.